Alrighty, so I just got back from LA, and it's not because I'm there to watch an LAFC or a Galaxy game, but I was down there just to visit some old friend. And unfortunately, when this game was happening, I was on my way to watch a US Open Cup game between the Roots and Alfredito. And then when this game was happening, I was already out eating dinner with my friends, and I tried to watch the game on my phone, but for whatever reason, the reception at the restaurant was not very good. So instead, I decided to just watch the highlights of both of these games. And this is kind of what I come up with after watching the highlights of both of these games. And by the way, I watched the highlights from the 2DN USA YouTube channel because I know Concave have their own highlights, but their highlights is pretty bad. It's only like 5 minutes long. It doesn't actually showcase what really happened in the game like what 2DN does with their extended highlights. But that being said, let us actually look at these two games that involve MLS team and CCL. Remember, we still only have three MLS team that is in CCL. One of them they're facing against each other, that is the Whitecaps and LAFC. But let us actually begin with the MLS team that is facing against the Liga MX team, that is the Philadelphia Union versus Atlas. And I'm not gonna lie, this really was a tale of two halves in this one. I thought in the first half Atlas was the better team, but as soon as the Union got that man advantage in the second half, it was no surprise that they were the better team. But it looked like it was going to be a frustrating night for the Union. I mean, it looked like it was going to be one where it was going to end 0-0, which that heavily favorites Atlas. I mean, going down to Mexico, not getting a goal in the first leg and not getting a win at home, that's got to be not only feel frustrating, but now it seems like this is going to go against the Union. But fortunately, they did get themselves a goal right at the end of this game. But early on in the first half, Quinones, oh my goodness, he almost scored what probably is the goal of the tournament and probably one of the best goal I've ever seen, where he basically not only chest this one down, but he even kind of gone on a bit of a half bicycle kick, kind of more like half scissor kick, or I should just call it an overhead kick there and almost score there. I mean, if that one went in, I mean, can you say that the Union got CONCACAF in that moment? I mean, that's just would have been an amazing goal and one that I think even though the Union will feel like they got CONCACAF, that's kind of one that you just got to tip your hat off of Julian Quinones, which by the way, that was not the last time Quinones was in was active in this game. He was very active in this game. It was causing a lot of problems to this Union team. In fact, he had to force Andre Blake to make a save here, denying him from close range. This game really proved why that the Union are very thankful that Blake was able to come back from his injury sooner than what we expected, because he had to make some big saves in this game, especially in the first half when Atlas was really pushing for the opening goal. I mentioned it was not a great start for the Union. It looked like Atlas was on the front foot and was looking for the opener, but also most importantly, looking for the away goal. Carenza did try to stab one in from a dangerous cross that was delivered, but he could not do so before Quinones was in on goal there, but he was denied by Blake. But while he was denied by Blake there, both the goalkeeper and Quinones kind of went down on the ground, and the ball was not gathered by Blake, so the ball was still live in the box, and it's a great heads-up play here from Quinones where he just got up, tried to slot it in into the empty net while Blake was down on his ground, but fortunately for the Union, there was a couple of Union player ready to block that one off the line, which is exactly what happened. Then there was a huge shout for a penalty as Hariel thought that he was brought down by Robles. Penalty decision will be a big talking point in this game because I think in this moment, this one is definitely debatable. I do feel that I've seen that being called as a penalty, both in MLS and also in CCL. But I guess because it's a CCL and because it's a Liga MX and MLS kind of battle, you're not going to see those 50-50 kind of PK call that's going to go in favor of MLS team. And again, feel like Robles, he definitely made a clumsy challenge on Hariel, but again, that's one that's gonna be debatable. But again, that's just a classic example of what happened when an MLS team just doesn't get the decision in CCL. Blake then denied Lozano as the flag went up, and again, I've said it seems like Andre Blake is back to being his best because he is single-handedly keeping this Union team in this game. There was a lot of chance that Atlas had in the first half, making some big save and keeping the Union in this one despite being second best. But then in the third minute of stoppage time, we go back talking about PK decision in this one where there was no penalty that was given. Originally it was given a penalty for the Union, but VAR checked to see whether or not it's Santa Maria was brought down Gazdag outside the box, and it was, but it was not by much. I mean, it was really close. I feel like it may be maybe too close for it to be clear and obvious, but again, this is CCL. Usually when you have close calls or 50-50 decision, whether it's by the referee or by the VAR call, it's always not going to go in favor of the MLS team. So yeah, no penalty was given there. The consolation for the Union is that at least they went up a man because Gazdag, he was in on goal there, and when Santa Maria fought him down, that was either going to be a denial of goal score opportunity, a red card, or it's probably going to be a yellow and it's going to be a penalty. And again, because it was outside the box, it was denial of goal score opportunity, so Santa Maria had to be sent off. I remember there was one game last match week that we had a situation very similar to this. I forgot which game it was, but either way, the Union were up a man for the remaining of the game. Carranza on that ensuing free kick tried to take advantage of it, but he pulls it just wide on the free kick. We do head to halftime. Scoreless in this one, but now knowing the fact that the Union were a man up, you would expect them to really push for that lead in the second half. And they kind of did, but not in the first 15 minutes. I mean, in the first 15 minutes, not much really happened, which really favored Atlas. And this is kind of also, you expect the Liga MX team started to maybe practice that dark arts a little bit harder. And that Atlas did try to waste some time because, if this game ends, no, this would really be in favor of Atlas, knowing the fact that MLS team always struggled to pick up resort down in Mexico. And it feels like Atlas could have a big chance to do so. Though again, the Union eventually did press for the opener. Gazdag had a chance, but he puts one straight to Vargas before Uru actually struck the post in the near post there. He was trying to sneak that past Vargas, couldn't quite do so. Glasnes then hits a free kick right to Vargas, and again, for the first time, the Union, they were amping up the pressure. They were pressing to try to get the opening goal. McGlynn hits one right to Vargas before Vargas had to deny McGlynn from 20 yards out, and that was a hard hit strike from Jack McGlynn there, and Vargas had to really comes up big in terms of making a big save. Glasnes then fires it high on the free kick, and I just feel like it was not going to happen for the Union. It looked like it was going to be a very frustrating evening for the Union. But then in the 87th minute, finally, after both time they could have had themselves a penalty in this game, they finally got one. As a penalty was given to the Union as Vargas brought down Carranza in the box, and that was no question. Like that, it was pretty clear that the Atlas goalkeeper Vargas, he came off his lines and brought down Carranza in the box. So yeah, a penalty was given to the Union, and I guess it's a good way to kind of say my old saying that if you don't succeed, try and try again, and eventually third luck is the charm, where the Union gets a penalty, which Gazdag of course steps up for the penalty, and he slots it home and gives the Union a 1-0 lead, and that would be the lead that they're going to have to protect heading into the second leg down in Mexico. So, yeah, like I said, 1-0 was the final score. Shots in this one, 18 shots compared to 8 that Atlas had, 7 shots on goal compared to 3 that Atlas had, 4 shots that was off target compared to 8 that the Union has, 1 shot that was blocked compared to 3 that the Union has, and possession-wise, 58% possession compared to 42% possession that Atlas has in this game. And, for the Union, I know they definitely would want a bigger advantage heading down to Mexico and playing against Atlas, but I think judging by how frustrating this game was, especially with them not able to find that finishing in the second half, they'll take that 1-0 advantage. And especially, I think what's even more important coming out of this game, Atlas did not get an away goal. Atlas didn't get the away goal that they were hoping for. So now, if the Union does get one in that game against Atlas, and even if Atlas of course score 2 goals, Union would still move on because of the away goal rule. So in some way, this scoreline is actually not as bad as some people might think. Even though I know Union fans would love to have a bigger advantage compared to the 1-0 score lines that they have. But as long as they score that goal against at last, then they all of a sudden have a relatively good cushion. But again, MLS team, they tend to not do well against Liga MX team, and that the Union, all they need is either just a score draw, or even a draw in that game, or if they can, as long as they are able to score and not lose by multiple goal, then they're moving on into the next round and moving on to semifinal of the CCL. With that being said, moving on in the next game, we got the all MLS affair in CCL between the Vancouver Whitecaps versus LAFC, and I was kind of hoping that maybe this is a game that the Whitecaps can potentially cause LAFC some problem, because it seems like LAFC always tends to have problem whenever they play against the Whitecaps at BC plays. That was not the case in this game. In fact, they pretty much blitzed them in a span of 10 minutes in the second half. That maybe that's going to be the difference between not only in this game, but also the tie of this one, with LAFC getting the emphatic 3-0 resort. But in the first 10 minutes, not much really happened. It feels like both of these teams were just kind of feeling each other out. In fact, if you missed the first half, you didn't miss much, because there wasn't really a lot of chances in the first half, although there was a big chance in the 13th minute when the first shot of the game, C. McCarthy denied former LAFC player Tristan Blackman from close range, as the shots were only 2-0 in favor of Vancouver through 30 minutes in. The first shot of LAFC was also a good one too. Bawanga actually timed his run perfectly there, but he pulls that one wide despite being wide open from 10 yards out. I mean, Luongo would have a monster game in this one, as it is the case, because he is just red hot right now. But at that moment, yeah, you would think that Bawanga gonna want that one back, and that's the one that Bawanga clearly should have put away. Kubas then puts it wide from close range, but that was pretty much it in terms of the chances, as we had scoreless heading into the second half. Now in the second half, White did try to hit one in, but he missed that one wide. But I would say that John McCarthy kind of got away with one here, because he came off his line here, and when you're a goalkeeper and you come off your line to punch that one away, you got to get there first, because if you don't get there first, you are in deep trouble. And White almost capitalized it, because the fact that McCarthy did not get there first, it was Brian White the one that hits it in. And knowing the fact that Brian White, he's only allowed to score in CCL, I thought he would have scored there. I guess maybe now it's kind of the reverse, because now that he's scoring MLS, I think now it seems like the soccer gods are basically saying, well, it's great that you now score in MLS, but now we're gonna reverse that, and now you basically are not allowed to score in CCL. But that being said, in the 53rd minute, Takioka did deny Bawanga from close range, but 2 minutes later, Bawanga would get on the score sheet, and he scored here from Vela, and this is definitely going to be an early contention for goal of the tournament if CCL actually does that, because this was a golazo and a half from Dennis Bawanga. I mean, this is a goal that just shows you how hot Dennis Bawanga is, where he has the audacity to strike that one from about 25 yards out. And yeah, I mean, that was hit with such a power that, Takaka had absolutely no chance in terms of saving that. And then just 6 minutes later, LAFC doubled their lead. It's Opoku scoring for Bawanga to make it 2-0 in favor of LAFC, but that was just a gift. Like that is one that, Andres Gubas used to always be a great defender for this Whitecaps team, and he still is. But this was not a great moment for him. Like, he commit probably the worst part of the pitch to commit a WTF turnover right in his own box there, and that, yeah, Bawang basically said thank you very much. He played it right to Opoku, and Opoku easily slots at home, and that, yeah, that was just a calamity of error from Vancouver that they can't afford. Like, is you're coming into this game as the underdog, but to basically give up a goal like that, yeah, that's got to be rough for this Whitecaps team, and it feels like it maybe took a toll to them, because just 4 minutes later they would concede again. It's Bawanga again. He scored here from Tillman. I mean, Bawanga just completely ripped apart that Whitecaps defense and scored an absolute amazing goal there to make it 3-0 in favor of LAFC. And I said the floodgates are pretty much blown open. Like, it was a combination of LAFC attacking brilliance, or shall I say Dennis Bawanga attacking brilliance, and the Vancouver Whitecaps just self-destructing themselves in a span of 10 minutes is the reason why this is 3-0, and that might be it in terms of this tie between these two teams. Then in the 72nd minute, Betcher would just hit sit high before Palencia was actually in on goal. He was looking to make it 4-0, but Takioka just came off his line quick enough to deny him from close range. Then McCarthy would deny White on the header, and then on the other end, as soon as that happened, Takioka had to deny Palencia from close range as the game really kind of opened up late. Like when you see a scoreline like 3-0 heading into the last couple of minutes, you wouldn't think the game would just be wide open like what we saw. But that's kind of what we saw. I mean, it was kind of wide open. Both of these teams were looking for another goal. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Whitecaps are trying to do so because then they definitely don't want to head to Bank of California Stadium with a 3-0 deficit. But unfortunately, they have to do that because in the end, LAFC, uh, they just blitz the Whitecaps in this one, and again, that might be enough for them to move on into the next round with a 3-0 result. Shots in this one: 11 shots committed, 10 that LAFC had, 6 shots on goal for the 2 that the Whitecaps had, 7 shots off target for the 2 that LAFC had. Both team had 2 shots that was blocked, and possession-wise, 56% possession compared to 44% possession that the Vancouver Whitecaps had in this game. And again, for LAFC, I think this is the second time in a row where they find themselves heading into the second leg with a 3-0 advantage because they had a 3-0 advantage against Alajuelense heading into the second leg, and they're just gonna hope that maybe they're not gonna make it too interesting because we saw in that second leg how they kind of made it unnecessarily nerve wracking with them giving up those 2 goals to the Whitecaps, and that again for the Whitecaps, this I know that coming into this one they were heavy underdog, but this was the first leg that they had to win if they want to had any chances, and I'm not gonna say that they have zero chance whatsoever now because you never know. It is CCL. Maybe Vanni Sartini had some magic left in the pouch where he can maybe do something that Alajuelense did in the last time, which is trying to maybe score a couple goals and make the second leg very interesting. But I'm pretty sure that's a message that Steve Cherundolo is going to give his team. Like, yes, it's a comfortable 3-0 lead heading into the second leg, but it doesn't mean this is over by any stretch. They cannot just easily sit back and just don't play whatsoever in the second leg and hope that they can just easily cruise their way into the next round, which I think that was kind of the mistake that they made against Al Huns. I think they kind of did that, or I would say that it was kind of also a combination of just them not being very good in terms of their finishing. But yeah, in this game they were definitely lethal in terms of their finishing, and that this is definitely a game that shows you why LAFC is considered one of the favorites in terms of winning CCL, or at least the favorites in terms of an MLS team. Once again, tasting the CONCACAF Champions League crown. But there you have it. That is pretty much it for my quick review of both of these games. As always, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of both of these games? The second leg is going to be happening next week. And as I mentioned, the Union, they only had that 1-0 fragile lead heading into Mexico to play against Atlas. And then in the second leg of this game, even though it might seems like it's over, you never know. Maybe the Whitecaps would surprise LAFC a little bit in the second leg. But yeah, either way, the good thing about this year's CCL, because of the fact that we once again had an all MLS affair, there's going to be at least one team that is going to make it to the semifinal, and let's just hope that it will be more than one, because you definitely want to see a more MLS team make it to the semifinal, but we know for sure that there's going to be at least one uh, coming out of these quarterfinal match. But like I said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.